Expressed excitement about facing Todd Gurley after he missed last year's game. Do you share that enthusiasm?
Yeah, as a competitor, you always want to play against the best, and he's a big time back, and we know if we can go out there and do some good things against him, we can sure just about do it against anybody, I mean, and it's not just him, it's the trio of backs they bring in, Sony Michel and Nick Chubb. I mean, those guys are great players in their own right, and so we've got a great challenge on Saturday. We know it, and we're excited to meet them.
How much of their success on the ground is just having really good running backs, or do you think it's the offensive line, or both?
Well, yeah, no, they do a great job, with their offensive line. They really do some good things in terms of scheming you up. They know when to pull the center and the tackles, and when not to, try and create run-throughs and things like that. But it's a combination of having a really good offensive line and obviously some great backs.
How big of an adjustment is it after playing so much three-wide stuff that they can go and bring a fullback and trap block with a center pulling and stuff that you just, quite frankly, don't see a whole lot more a lot of in college.
That's right. No, you're exactly right, and we don't get to see that a lot even in spring practice, and we don't get to see that a lot in fall camp. So it is foreign, and that's been a challenge for us to try and make sure that we cover, all of our bases when it comes to the two-back offenses and then the problems that they can create with that two-back system.
Is it weird to you to talk about the I formation like it's a funky offense?
It really is nowadays. Everybody is a lot of one-back and the spread stuff and zone read and things like that. And Georgia is a power team. When they get in that personnel grouping, obviously they have the ability to do more than that. And I think that part of it is really challenging too. You play a lot of these spread teams, they're in 10 and 11 personnel, and that's what you're getting. Well, Georgia will be in 21 personnel, then they'll be in 11, now they can be in 12, now they'll be in 20. And so those are things that you got to, make sure that you're on top of your game too. You got the right people in the game, the personnels to match up, and it just, again, it's more of an organizational thing, but it's challenging.
Being a kind of a smaller and quicker defense than you've been in the past, how much more of a challenge is this type of offense for you than maybe it might have been in the past, or is there any difference?
No, I think, from a personnel standpoint, we're going to have to really play with great leverage up front. We're going to have to, do some things schematically to try and keep them off balance. We're going to have to play extremely hard. We've got to get 11 hats to the football. We're going to have to be turnover conscious and get the ball back and be opportunistic, when it comes to punching the ball out and interceptions and things of that nature. And so it's going to be a great challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun.
As much as everybody talks about Gurley and those other backs, how important is it not to focus on those guys as much during the game and still be aware that play action and all that stuff?
Right. Well, obviously, people are going to do things. We can see it on film to stop the run, and when you do that, you add a little bit more pressure to your back end. You have to be flexible. You got to be able to go, between a couple different calls and still be solid versus the running game. And your pressures have to be designed so that, you're not just taking chances in regards to the throw game on first and second down. You got to be able to stop, the power and the zone plays and things that Georgia does on a consistent basis. So those are the things that we've been working on, and from my opinion, that's the formula that you have to be successful against them.
How much does it help to have veterans in the linebacking core like Majid and AJ, who are maybe a little more used to the keys and knowing where to look and that kind of thing?
Oh, that's huge. Anytime you get players with experience, that's an added bonus. I mean, some of your best college football teams aren't necessarily the most talented, but they have a senior-laden team. They have guys that have redshirted and been in the program for a long time, and usually you can win with those types of players. They've experienced a lot more, and they're able to handle a lot more, and you can be a lot more flexible as a coach. So having guys with experience in that first group is invaluable.
How do they look? I mean, the receiving core's been pretty banged up all year. How do they look?
Who's that?
Georgia's receiving core. How do they look on film from what you've been able to see?
Oh, they look good. They got players all over the place. They got Chris Connolly back. I mean, he's a guy that made a tremendous catch last year. I don't know if you guys remember that down in the red zone, a one-handed grab. They got Michael Bennett back, and he's a great receiver. He's tall, 6'3". They got Isaiah McKenzie, it's a guy. He's quick as a cat. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be challenging in a lot of ways. Obviously, we know we got to stop the backs and the running game. But if you get too, you can't fall asleep on the perimeter because those guys will hurt you down the field as well.
John, against Clemson, Georgia in the fourth quarter scored 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
Toss sweep play.
Yes.
What makes that play so effective for them?
They create a lot of extra gaps on the perimeter. They pull tackles, they pull guards, they pull centers. They can create misfits for defense. And then they have the backs, obviously. When they get the ball and they have that much space and they got great vision. And the first toss that they ran and scored on, Gurley actually cut it all the way back behind the center, and it kind of spit out the back door, and then he made the safety miss, and the next thing you know, it's 6 points. And then they just kind of kept going to that play with the idea that it was being successful, and Clemson was struggling in terms of handling it.